What's going on, guys? Kai here. A big deal for picking your class in this game is the class advancements. Let's talk about what the max stats that you should be looking for are. Let's get into it.
반드시 돌아오게 하겠어. 더 이상 하수인만으로 남지 않아. 이제부턴 나를 위하여 오로지 나만 깨어있을 뿐. 멈춰! 모두들 절대 후회? 네가 누구랑 얘기하는 줄은 아는 거야?
Alright guys, what I like the most about class advancements is they kind of tell you what the class is trying to do. No matter which subclass you go down. For example, Ranger we're looking at right here. If you go in the top section, that would be for Marksman. If you go in the bottom section, that would be for Wind Chaser. Regardless of which one you're using, you will get the stats of both sides. You can't get all of the stats in the same picture, so I had to take two pictures and put them together, and I did the same thing for all six. And we're going to look through them pretty quickly and then talk about what I believe they're kind of leaning towards and which ones pair well together, things like this. So Ranger is pretty even across the board. We have a little bit of flat stats, which of course they're fine. Crit down here, tenacity down here, a little bit of everything really. And then percentages are really where you want to be at. Attack is whatever, I mean damage is nice. Pierce and protection, so like I said, they're pretty even across the board. We have 26 protection, 26 pierce rate, keeping it about even, some crit rate and some crit immunity. So it's really, you can do a lot of things with Ranger because of just how its stats are across the board. Obviously there's a small lean towards crit because you have some flat crit and some crit rate, but there you can go any direction you want. This is primarily from Marksman, which definitely wants to crit. Scholar, HP attack, break, tenacity. The break is from the judge side that requires a higher break than your opponent's block to do more damage with EM Chain Strike. We see some damage increase, damage reduction, even on both. Crit immunity rate. So we have both that have crit immunity rate. 26% break rate, which is not a stat that really comes across. So really good for break, especially when you have Cold Fire Bird, the top left skill that reduces your opponent's block, making it very, very nice situation there. Now Ninja, we're going to get into some weird stuff here because we have they cleaned it up a bit more, and there's still tenacity down here at the bottom. I would love to have the flat stats at the top and the percentages down. Lower attack than others. All these other numbers are about what you would expect. Damage reduction, pierce rate, really high defense, really high ignore block, HP damage increase. Craftsman is going to be pretty similar. We have the same ignore block. I think they're the only two. We'll have to keep looking, but I think they're the only two with max ignore block, which is 70%. But they also have the 3000 26% crit, which is the same kind of stat line we saw from Marksman up above. But we also had this 70% crit damage. Holy moly. And then like half the defense, because this is 32.5 up here, 65, so half. Lancer, it's a little harder for you to see. It's a little smaller here. Because there's more stats we have to fit in. HP attack, block, defense, a lot of flat stats here. Regular damage increase, crit rate, 70% HP steal rate, one of the only two that have it, Lancer and Warrior. So as we're seeing, Lancer and Warrior have HP steal rate. Craftsman and Ninja have ignore block. What does Scholar and Ranger really have? And it looks like that crit immunity rate. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Scholar and Ranger, the special stat they have is crit immunity. Ninja and Craftsman has ignore block. Lancer and Warrior have HP steal rate. Now, because we're talking about them together, something that really irked me a bit was that Lancer ends up with higher HP steal rate than Warrior. Even though Warrior gets a higher increase earlier on, but then towards I think it's either the last page or the last two pages, they don't get any HP steal rate, but Lancer does, which brings it up to the 70%, which is very interesting. We have a good amount of block. Wait, what? Oh no, I need to fix this. There's not two 70%. I think I cut it off wrong. But it's just 70% HP steal rate. We have some break. We have block, flat number, crit. A little bit of everything, really. And Warrior. This looks like I did a better job here. Block chance, 26%, really good. Break rate, 26%. So built for both, with also 3,000 flat stat on both. Good stuff. Now, so I think the big thing is what I just said is if you want HP steal rate, these two are very, very good. You don't want to go over 100%, so you don't really want to do them together because that would put you at 130%. And it's not you healing 130% of damage. It would be 130% chance to do the HP steal rate. You don't need that. So really, Lancer Warrior, as far as HP steal rate, doesn't really go together. They are both good choices if you want that HP steal rate, but they don't really go well together. Now, Craftsman and Ninja with that ignore block, that does stack to 140% ignore block, which, I mean, you need more than the 70% that's here, but 140%, I don't think there's really anything you need that for. Obviously, event bosses, we don't know their exact stats, so that 140% could come into play for something like that. Craftsman being the best PvE damage dealer in the game, but you could look at something like what is it, not Shadow Owl, Blazing Owl and Mechanician, and then have the 140% ignore block, and then have your cannon shooting ignoring block shots, which could be interesting as far as just looking at the stats, not really talking about everything else that goes into it, but just looking at the stats. That's something that can go well together. We have the crit up here, crit damage. Obviously there's other things to talk about besides just the class advancements, but that's what this video is doing, is explaining why each class wants to do certain things based on their class advancements. Scholar and Ranger had that crit immunity, which is better than, not better. So Tenacity goes into crit immunity, but the thing is, every time you level up, you lose 2%, and Tenacity, your level is part of the equation for crit immunity. So just a flat crit immunity rate stat. This does not go down as you level up. So these two together, 52% crit immunity. That's just hard to get past. Minus, obviously a million crit, but, pierce rate, protection rate, really, really good. It's funny how Ranger has very good defensive stats, but the skills aren't very defensive, minus some CC stuff from Wind Chaser. It obviously has the Get Out of Jail Free card with Strength of Nature that heals and gives you movement speed. But that's it, guys. If you want